Who was Ponzi? One man who wove a web of greed that still traps people even after 100 years. Imagine this. Someone comes to you and says with complete confidence, just invest your money. No hard work needed. A guaranteed 50% return in 45 days. You laugh at first, then you think, and then a voice in your head whispers, what if it's true? And that's where the story begins. Every major financial scam in the world starts with this very question. Even today, when people lose money somewhere, they say, it turned out to be a Ponzi. But have you ever stopped to think, who exactly was this Ponzi? Who was the man whose blueprint of fraud is still alive today in crypto scams, online investment apps, and get-rich-quick schemes? This story begins in Italy, in the year 1882, with the birth of Charles Ponzi into a relatively well-off family. As a child, Charles did not see poverty. His family had status, social respect, and the future seemed secure. But time spares no one. Gradually, Ponzi's family lost everything, money as well as status. It was here that a strange restlessness settled into Charles's mind. He wasn't just hungry to become rich, he was obsessed with looking rich. He wanted that lost respect, that social standing back at any cost. At the age of 21, when he got his hands on some money, he didn't think about education or skill building. He thought, first the lifestyle, everything else later. Fancy clothes, expensive food habits, and big dreams. The money ran out very quickly, but the habit of show-off never left. That habit later became the cause of ruin for millions of people. In 1903, Charles Ponzi arrived in America. He had no money in his pocket, but his mind was full of dreams. He did every small and big job, from dishwashing to selling insurance. But one pattern was clear. Whenever a little money came in, he spent it immediately, just so people would think he was successful. For him, perception mattered more than reality. During this period, he reached Montreal and started working at a bank. And this was the place where he received the biggest lesson of his life. The owner of that bank was using the money of new investors to keep old investors happy. Eventually, the bank collapsed, people were ruined. But a dangerous idea had already been born in Charles Ponzi's mind. He realized that the real business is not in the product, but in the story. If you can sell people a believable story, they will willingly hand over their money to you. In 1919, Charles got an opportunity that changed history. He received a letter from Spain with an international reply coupon IRC attached. In theory, this coupon could be cheap in one country and expensive in another. The arbitrage was real, but practically, it was far from easy. Logistics, exchange rates, and availability were major issues. But Charles didn't look at the logic. He saw the opportunity. He created a scheme. He told people, give me your money. I'll buy international coupons, and in 45 days I'll give you 50% profit. Today this clearly sounds like a scam, but at that time the idea seemed revolutionary. People didn't understand international finance. All they could see was that Charles was confident, stylish, and persuasive. Ponzi understood human psychology very well. He first took money from a few people and paid them the promised returns on time. This money did not come from profits, but from the funds of new investors. But the investors didn't care. For them, only one thing mattered. The money came. And the moment the money came, they themselves became Ponzi's marketers. Word-of-mouth marketing was the social media of that era. People started telling their friends, relatives, and neighbors about the scheme. Look, I invested and I got a profit. This was the moment when logic lost and greed won. Charles Ponzi wasn't selling profits, he was selling hope. He was showing people the dream that one could become rich without hard work and without risk. Within a few months, the situation became such that people stopped going to banks and started lining up outside Ponzi's office. At one point, Charles was collecting around $250,000 every single day. He bought luxury cars, wore expensive suits, lived in grand houses, and his social status skyrocketed. People looked at him and thought, if this man is so rich, how can his scheme be fake? But every bubble has a limit. Financial journalists began asking questions. Reputed journalists like Clarence Barron calculated and showed that there simply were not as many IRC coupons in existence as Ponzi was claiming. The math was clear. This scheme was not sustainable. But people did not want to look at the math. Greed blinds human beings. When something matches your hopes, the mind starts ignoring evidence. Ponzi knew this. He knew that as long as new money kept coming in, old investors would keep getting paid, and the system would keep running. The problem begins when new investors start drying up. And that is exactly what happened. One day, payouts began to slow down. Rumors started spreading. People began to panic. Charles himself was now trapped in his own web. Eventually, the authorities intervened. An investigation began. Charles Ponzi admitted that he was not a mathematics expert and that the entire model was built on thin air. When the scheme collapsed, the devastation was unimaginable. Thousands of people lost their life savings. Banks were affected. Families were destroyed. Ponzi was arrested, went to jail, came out, got involved in small scams again, and eventually died in poverty. The man who did everything to look rich ultimately left the world completely broke. But the story does not end there. The real tragedy is that Charles Ponzi died, but the Ponzi model did not. Today's crypto scams, MLM schemes, fake trading apps, online guaranteed returns plans, all run on the same blueprint. The only difference is the packaging. Today someone says an AI trading bot will give guaranteed profits. Someone says double your money in crypto mining. Someone else says just add referrals and earn passive income. The language is modern, the technology is new. But the core is the same. Money from new people is used to pay old people. The most dangerous thing about a Ponzi scheme is that it looks legitimate in the beginning. As long as you keep receiving money, it doesn't feel like a scam at all. And by the time it finally looks like a scam, it is already too late. The biggest lesson from this story is simple. If a scheme promises high returns with no risk, then the risk is hidden in your money. Real investing is boring, slow, and demands discipline. Scams are exciting, fast, and play with emotions. Charles Ponzi taught the world one harsh truth. Human greed is the greatest weakness. Technology will change, markets will change, but human psychology will remain the same. And as long as greed exists, Ponzi-like scams will continue to exist. So the next time someone says, this is not a Ponzi, this is a new model, remember, Ponzi was also a new model in his time. The only difference is that history repeats itself, and humans keep making the same mistake again and again.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.